I'm Jack, and welcome back because I'm going to give you guys a review for a movie I saw last night, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. It stars Nicolas Cage as Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal, Tiffany Haddish, Ike Barinholtz, Neil Patrick Harris, and many more, and it is directed by Tom Gormican, and with that said, let's get started. The film follows Nicolas Cage, who's feeling unfulfilled with his life and facing financial ruin, and he accepts a $1 million offer to attend a wealthy fan's birthday party, and he goes on a wild chase that involves the CIA and the drug cartel. I was getting interested in this movie from the trailers alone, and it seemed like a fun movie, and it is a blast. I had such a fun time with this movie. Nicolas Cage, as Nicolas Cage, is the most Nicolas Cage thing you could ever ask for. And he delivers 100% his A game in this movie. I love his dynamic with Pedro Pascal. It is a highlight. It's one of the best parts about this movie. And it makes me want to see more movies with those two together. I love their chemistry. They have so many funny moments, so many heartfelt moments between the two of them. The cast as a whole is great, especially Lily Mosheen as the daughter of Nicolas Cage. I love her moments with Nick Cage, especially as the father-daughter relationship between the two of them is a huge point in this movie. It's really heartfelt. There's some really touching moments that happen between the two of them. And I really enjoyed Ike Barinholtz and Tiffany Haddish as the CIA agents. They are really funny at times, especially when they finally see Nick Cage is thrust into all of this involving the CIA and the drug cartel. The whole cast is great. Neil Patrick Harris is also fun to watch as well, even if he doesn't have as much screen time as the other actors in this movie. But I had such a fun time with this movie. I love the cast, especially the dynamic with Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal. And I think it is a very funny movie. A lot of the humor relies on your relationship with Nick Cage. Do you love his movies? Are you a big Nick Cage fan? Because if so, you are going to laugh at every point in this movie. There's some really funny moments, and it's super meta and self-aware, but thankfully it's done to the point where it doesn't feel it's in your face, it doesn't feel on the nose. It feels right. It adds to the cleverness of Nick Cage's career and the whole story that happens in the film. And it really makes you sit there just like, to talk about this, and they're referencing this in this movie, and it's really funny. There were times where I just laughed hard at a lot of these meta jokes because they actually worked so well. This is a thing that could have made or break this movie, and it made this movie so great. It's also an extremely well-paced movie at only an hour and 47 to 48 minutes. It never felt dull. I was always invested in this story from start to finish. I just love following Nick Cage on this adventure with involving the CIA and the super fan that he's attending. And it's just super fun movie. There are some really, really great moments here. Even some fantastic acting moments from Pedro Pascal and Lily Mosheen and the whole crew. It is just a really exciting and fun movie. I was always looking forward to this movie when I first saw the trailers, but this movie was super surprising. It is another big surprise of the year besides Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I saw. Definitely check out my review for that if you haven't. And this is just a really well-directed movie by Tom Gormican. It's because this is a love letter to Nicolas Cage. It honors his film career from doing movies like Mandy and Con Air and Face Off and just all those stuff. It tributes every aspect of Nicolas Cage's career from like the 90s, the past 10 years, whether it's a big movie or whether it's a straight-to-demand movie. And I love that he's so self-aware that he points out, it's like, oh, how Nick Cage has done all of these straight-to-demand movies over the past 10 years. And he really just pokes fun at himself and his career and even just at the critics for his choices he's made over his career. Nicolas Cage. There's just nobody that could have played Nick Cage in this movie but Nick Cage. That's why it makes this so amazing that this is the most Nicolas Cage movie you could ever ask for. It's just the ultimate Nick Cage experience. If you love Nick Cage, you got to go see this movie, no questions asked. And it is a must-see. There are some movie references it makes, and not only just Nick Cage movies, but even to just movies as a whole. So in a way, it's not only just a tribute to Nick Cage as an actor and with his filmography, but it also tributes other iconic movies you might have heard of. And I'm not going to give you examples because I think you need to just experience it for yourself, because there were moments where I just died of laughter at the movies it referenced and in the way that it does. It is just a really meta. It's just a great example of how you should do meta. It's done well. It serves the story that's being told, and it's so heartfelt while also being funny. And I think that works really well. This is just a movie where this wouldn't have worked if you cast anybody else as Nick Cage playing Nick Cage, because you knew you had to bring in the real Nick Cage for this movie. So I'm happy he really accepted this role. And because his dynamic with Pedro is perfection. Again, I'd love to see more movies with those two together. There's just a lot of fun to be had. On the negative side, not a big problem, but the whole spy CIA storyline with Nick Cage teaming up with the CIA to like get involved in all the secrecy involving the superfan, it's good, but it's not as like on the same level as, say, the relationship between Nick Cage and his daughter's storyline, and so as with the bromance between Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal's Javi. So it's still fun to watch. There's still some nice little moments that happen there, but it's not quite on that same level as the other two storylines I mentioned, and that the third act of this movie can become a little cliche with the how it just becomes what it is by the end, but in a way it also adds to the story that's being told, and it actually adds to the laughter and the hystericalness of it all. So it doesn't like ruin the whole movie by any means. It's still a really well crafted movie, and it's well executed, even though that CIA spy storyline doesn't quite live up to that same greatness as the plot line with Pedro Pascal and Nicolas Cage's dynamic, and so as the relationship between Nicolas Cage and his daughter. This movie also has some surprise references to Nick Cage's other filmographies, and it really adds to Nicolas Cage unleashing his full Cage-isms onto this display. And there are some really funny moments that, again, if you're a Nick Cage fan, you are going to be on cloud 9 watching this movie. It does everything a Nick Cage fan would hope it would do, and it is so well done. Again, it could have gone wrong, but it doesn't. They execute this so well. It is one of the best comedies and meta comedies I've seen in the past several years. It is a super fun movie, and I love what Tom Gormican and the writers were able to pull off with this movie, and how they got to tribute Nicolas Cage and his legacy within this movie, and just the whole storyline with his daughter, I think, was very touching, very heartfelt. There are some moments in the movie that made me kind of tear up on the inside, because there are some really great moments to be found there. And just the bromance between Nicolas and Pedro is so great that it's like, this is going to be one of the best dynamics I've seen over this year. It is going to be hard to reach that same level of greatness that Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal were able to bring. So I absolutely love this movie. It is so much fun. It is a great meta, self-aware comedy about Nicolas Cage and tributes his career, and it has a great dynamic with Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal, with a great story, lots of funny moments, and it is an all-around fun time at the theater. And in the end, I'm going to give The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent an A. And I think it is a must-see at the theaters. Go see The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. It's absolutely worth your time. Nick Cage was awesome in this movie. It's the ultimate Nick Cage movie ever. His dynamic with Pedro Pascal is gold, and I think I really would love to see them work together again. I love what Tom Gormican and the crew were able to pull off with this movie. So much fun, massive surprise, and I hope you guys will check it out while you can. So go see this movie and Everything Everywhere all at once. There are some of the biggest surprises I've seen all year so far, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what 2022 has to bring for the rest of the year. So go check them out while you can. And thank you so much for watching. Those are my thoughts on The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. And let me know down below in the comment section, what is your favorite Nick Cage movie and what did you think of this movie? Let's celebrate Nick Cage's career down below in the comment section. I'd love to hear it and see what your favorite movie is, and I hope you guys will check it out while you can. And thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to stay tuned. I have a plan for reviewing The Northman soon once I go see that movie, so definitely stay tuned for that. And thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to follow me on social media. My username is down below at the bottom of the screen and in the description below, so don't forget to do that while you're at it. And don't forget to hit that like button and the subscribe button, and stay tuned for more.
Grab my hand. You're heavier than you look.
I have a very big head.
You go.
I'll never forget you, Habs.